Are you a woman in medicine feeling overwhelmed and disconnected from the personal fulfillment that you desire? You're in the right place. Join doctors Joanne and Erin as they rewrite the rules for women in medicine. Let's begin.
In our last episode, we talked about reconnection. In this episode, we're talking about what happens when you realize your life hasn't caught up yet. This is about realignment, and it's where women physicians often get stuck. Before we dive into that conversation with Dr. Joanne today, we would love your help getting the podcast in front of more eyes and ears. You can do that for us by giving us a rating and a review on Apple Podcasts or by subscribing and leaving comments on our YouTube channel. And with that, Joanne, I can't wait to talk about this topic of realignment, especially as we just had a conversation about reconnection. And if you haven't taken a listen to that one, it's our very last episode that was released. As usual, I would love to hear, what is your definition of realignment?
So yes, thank you. And we talked about reconnection, and you can think about of how reconnection gives you awareness and realignment gives you direction. Erin and I were having a conversation the other day of talking about how many doctors are transitioning and changing practices or going part-time or doing something completely different. And if you don't kind of look in to see what's really important, your values, what you really want to accomplish, you carry yourself wherever you go. So your beliefs, your habits, your patterns go with you. So realignment is that process where we're going to clarify what actually matters now. And then with that, we update your priorities based on your top values. And then it's way easier to set up what we want to do and take action. And then your time, energy, boundaries, they all aligned. So, and it's not always about white knuckling, doing more, like shuffling to get motivation, but rather than permission to choose differently. And as we were talking the last episode, when we reconnect with ourselves and realign, all the pieces start getting together. And even though it might be a long path, it's way easier to walk through it.
I love that. It makes me think of one of the analogies I use as an engine that's running smoothly instead of stuttering and stopping. It sounds like getting that reconnection together with realignment helps. It's like doing a tune-up and figuring out maybe what are some of the root causes and tied to values. I love that reminder. And then getting things running smoothly together instead of maybe working against each other. And Joanne, why do women in medicine feel so misaligned?
Yes. So we have to think about it, as we say in this podcast, our doctor programming of what's been installed. It's right. It's like we're running through an old operating system of old values, old expectations, all the shoulds, old definitions of success, the role modeling that we've had. And even though we know better intellectually, we don't always take action from that desire. We take action based on what's imprinted in our brain. So it's then we schedule our lives around it. And then it's a beautiful thing that we care so deeply with for work in medicine and our patients. But then we're kind of set up for failure in terms of our sense of fulfillment and joy and connection with ourselves, because it's as if that was the most important thing in terms of our time and energy. And that just creates a lot of the things that we hear in the women in medicine that we're coaching, where there's that sense of exhaustion, resentment, again, disconnection. You're in a bad mood. I hear that one so often. It's like, I want to be in a good mood, and then I come home and my kids start talking to me and I just want silence, right? And we stay in the edgy even if we don't want to be. And then it can also keep you in kind of on the, not necessarily depressed, but that kind of sadness or loss of joy and feeling trapped. And a lot of it is it's not our fault. Again, like as I was saying in the last episode, this is to increase awareness with compassion because that's how we were kind of trained and programmed to be. But that's why you're here listening, because you know there's a better way and there's tools and intention that we can apply to get things moving. I like that analogy of a kind of well-oiled machine that's running smoothly.
Mhm. And is there a different way we can start thinking about alignment and misalignment than might be typical for us?
I'm gonna repeat something that I said in the last episode because it's about asking better questions. So a better way to think about it is asking what matters most now. What no longer fits who I am becoming? And am I ready to choose differently? Do you want to choose differently? Right. So those are like good questions to maybe write down and journal, because from there we can get into kind of like if we had a framework for realignment, and it's some of the things that we've mentioned in even talking about other topics of checking in into what are your values right now and upgrading them. And it's okay if it's not your kids. That's number one right now. We should always be thinking about something that keeps us in alignment with that woman we want to become, and know that our values evolve. So we might be kind of still running from an old list from 25 years ago, right? So checking in with the alignment and then doing a priority reset. I think as women in medicine, I don't know if you see this, Erin, you probably do, that especially this time of the year that we're setting goals and, we're hopeful for where this year is going to be different. And then we check in into the different facets of our lives and we want to work on everything, and we may have like this super long to-do list, and it's because we're asking the wrong question of, can I work on this, or should I be working on all these areas? And then it's asking a better question of what's actually really important, like that, what's that one thing that you need to focus on that will give you the best ripple effect? And yes, you can have maybe two or three other things that you're also working on. Just know that it's not, we really can't work on everything all the time. It's not sustainable in the best of ways. And your priorities reveal what you are actually committed to, right? Like I always say, you do what you prioritize. So if there's something that it has been on your to-do list or in your goals list that you keep on missing, ask yourself, is this really a priority to me right now? Right? Like I know that um sometimes like dropping a few pounds, it's always in my to-do list, and I don't always like, I think I'm pretty healthy overall, but I'm like, I want to have dessert because I'm not making it a priority. I make health overall a priority, but not necessarily like dropping weight. And that's right, like that's my reality right now. So think about it for yourself, because again, these are conversations that we have that are a little bit challenging and that we need to be very honest with ourselves. And then the activating our boundaries, of course, in terms of protecting what's important. It's not always about kind of what we need to say no to or push away, but because you are connecting with yourself, you are aligning with your values and your priorities, then that's the boundary. That's that beautiful fence around what's important, to make sure that you have the energy and the time to work on those things.
Oh, and these themes that keep coming up when we talk about boundaries. And one of the words I've heard you say many times during this conversation is relevance. And so it sounds like making sure you know what's relevant to you now so you can look at your priorities and drop those things that aren't. I would wonder, Joanne, what are some other steps that we can do to make sure that we are aligned?
And I'm going to use that word relevant. I really like it. So the first step is that audit what you're doing to see if you are working towards what is relevant for you. Thank you for the word. So often we say, oh, I want to focus on time with my family and time for my health and time for rest. But what is your schedule really showing? Like, I know Erin talks a lot about this. If we looked at your calendar, what does it show? And you can have the best intentions, but unfortunately, our work takes up most of our schedule. And that is okay. We're not asking you to completely change your schedule, but then be very intentional with your energy and your presence, because it's not always about the quantity, but the quality of your energy and presence and the emotion that you want to display around those that you love or yourself, right? So take that audit in your schedule. The same with relationships. Are you fostering that quality time with your important people? And that includes yourself. And then what are your obligations? How many shoulds are in your list? I know I have to keep myself in check with that so often. And then saying, okay, what do I really want to keep? And being very honest. And if you leave it to me, I want to do everything all the time. Right? Like I'm talking from a very honest place, because these are the things that I work on, because I am that example of the one who was like, no, I can work on everything all the time. And then I just have to say, like, well, is that the best thing? Is there a better way? Right. So I practice asking myself better questions, because my default is, like many of you, no, I want to do everything all the time. And then I should do these other things for my kids, and I should do all these other things for my work. So again, keeping yourself in check, and then make the decision. Really think of those important things, and what is that one action that you can take right now that will take you back, keep you in that alignment of what the topics of what we're talking about, of what will keep you connected with yourself, like we talked in the last episode. One kind of mirrors your values and your priorities, because we often, I call them healthy denials. We're doing really good things. We're not lazy. We're good people. But that doesn't always mean that we are in alignment. So check in, audit yourself, and then give yourself at least one decision that will keep you in alignment with those values and those priorities now, in this time of your life.
So well stated, Joanne. And some of the key words that I continue to hear that I think are so powerful for us to reflect on is, looking for the direction. I think not just where we've been, but where we want to go. Thinking about our doctor programming and so many of the scripts that we need to unwrite so we can rewrite the ones that are more relevant to the life that we want if we're not satisfied where we're at. Upgrading. What's the operating system we need to upgrade? And again, remembering our values at the core of this. And such a great conversation. And I really appreciate how this, again, ties into the last episode. If you haven't listened to it yet, go back and take a listen on reconnection, especially reconnection with yourself, and then how that ties in to our realignment. And with that, we hope you have enjoyed this episode. If you would like to help us get the episode in front of more listeners and watchers, please go to the show and scroll to the stars on Apple Podcasts, give us a star rating and leave a review. And if you're watching us on YouTube, give us a comment and subscribe. And with that, stay tuned, because our next episode is coming right up.
Do you want exclusive resources and the opportunity to connect with us? Then visit createmeaninginmedicine.com now, where you'll dive deeper into how you can create meaning in medicine. And if you're serious about optimizing your results, take 2 quick steps now. Connect with us on the website and tune in to the next episode.